In 3, 2, 1. All right, shut up. Little PSA. It's two-parter, but two things I've learned. Actually, just one thing I've learned and something that you should know about is it's a good idea to have a go bag packed. I've never thought about this before, but recently I've had to evacuate my home due to fire. And it would be a good idea to have like a throwaway set of things that you could just grab and go if you needed to on a short notice. And it could be for anything. You don't know if people are going to raid your house or if it's going to flood, even though you're not in a flood zone, or who knows, but be ready for it. And then secondly, I just want to remind everyone that you probably haven't gotten an oil change, and you should. You know, that's just something I'm constantly thinking about. But another thing I'm constantly thinking about is the fact that it's time for the Disney Podclassics. My name is Harrison, and with me, as always, is the beautiful Jay. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Wow, thank you, Harrison. Yeah, I have two comments on both of those points, and we're going to just get into it. One, you refer to fire as if it was the monkeys from Jungle Book, like as just this foreign concept, like fire has made me evacuate.
Man's red flower, have you ever heard of it?
Exactly. And then the other thing is on Monday, I have an oil change appointment, so it's freaky that you called me out on that.
See, it's the kind of thing that you think about, you know you need to do it, and then every now and then you look up and it's like, it's been 2,000 miles since I was supposed to get my last oil change.
I know.
So I want to be the guy that reminds you, hey, do that, go do that. But, here we are. We're about to review Dumbo here at the Disney Podclassics. What we do is critically important, you could say. Jay and I grew up watching Disney movies on VHS back in the good old days, and we went on to be roommates in college and spent many a night up till 3 a.m. discussing the finer points of Disney, top fives, and debating the best villains and such. And, it's one of those things. It shaped who we were. It shaped the kind of fundamental values we hold. And now we just figured it's time. We're 29, 28 years old. It's time to go through all these again, one by one, in chronological order, and revisit these classics and see what they look like now. I wouldn't take us too seriously, but let's see where we get to. Up on the docket, 1941, Dumbo. And there's a lot to say about Dumbo, and we're going to say that. So let's do that, Jay. Jay, what was this movie like for you as a child when you watched it?
Yeah,
I certainly did.
I will say for how big of a Disney fan I am, it's not like your parents know Disney knowledge a lot better than mine do. Like I was more of a solo act with Disney, but my whole family knew Dumbo.
You were like the kid who trained in his backyard playing basketball, shooting hoops every night until dinner time.
Yeah. My
made
son.
It to the league.
Yeah, exactly. My dad wasn't a professional basketball player, and I had all the advantages. It was much more organic.
I was the kid who was in AAU, and my parents were taking me cross country to play on my travel teams. I had all the cool shoes.
Different pathways. Yeah, but we're both here. So my whole family knew this movie really well.
That says something.
Yeah, and it is a very iconic movie. A lot of these are, but I think this one really stands out that it will pull on your heartstrings even if you haven't seen it in decades. There's just some feelings that you don't forget. And one of the reasons why as a kid it wasn't my all-time favorite or I would gravitate towards it is just because it's a really sad movie that makes you a bit uncomfortable, and that really ties into how I watched it this time as well. So it's I will never go to this well a lot, but it is nice and I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, and it's so similar to what I feel as well. It's interesting though because Walt was asked, there's lists and everyone always says they push the promotion of this was Walt's favorite movie and blah, blah, blah. But there's a quote where he's just saying from start to finish, it was always just a really happy movie. And you think about it, it is actually a relatively happy movie, but the sad scenes, they hit so hard that now you're sitting here saying it's just a sad movie. And it's really amazing how it's not, but it is,
Yeah.
For me as a kid, it was definitely on rotation. It was one of the old VHSs I had. But like you said, there was a disturbing element to it where it just makes you feel uncomfortable. And there's times where it just makes you feel things you don't want to, which now as an adult, I love. I love movies that make me feel. I remember watching 1917 and just the whole movie just being like, ugh. And then afterwards I was like, that was the greatest experience ever. I've never felt that tense for a whole movie, which is a weird thing. But as a child, you don't want that. And that's what Dumbo kind of gives you at times. Let me ask you this. Did you like it this time around now?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. That's the podcast. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, exactly. And we're done.
Yep. Glad
I
you
didn't.
that one off.
Yeah, I didn't love it though. It's sad. There's parts that haven't aged that well.
Yeah.
But to say the least,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, did you like it in this watch?
You're making me kind of question my own values, because this time I said I liked it this time more than ever. Did you, punk? More than ever, I think. But the disturbing parts, maybe I'm just desensitized to them now, but they didn't ruin it for me. I think I liked it more now as I did before. What do you know about this movie?
Yeah. The main thing being it was Walt Disney's favorite movie. That
he didn't really say that, did he? He just said it was a happy movie. And like, oh God, it's his favorite.
And maybe part of the reason is because it was extremely efficient in the production.
Wildly affordable.
And Pinocchio and Fantasia, the last two movies, this is only the fourth Disney animated movie ever. So Snow White was a huge hit. Pinocchio and Fantasia took a lot of risks, spent a lot of money on the animation, and it didn't pan out quite as well in the box office. This movie, they made it very efficient, kept it brief, and it led to more of a box office hit than the previous two movies. So Walt was very happy because it was very profitable. Maybe that plays an aspect as well as why it's his favorite. But it came out in October 23rd, 1941, and 5-6 weeks later, Pearl Harbor occurs. And
could have used Dumbo.
And Time Magazine had slotted to have Dumbo on the front page that following week. And of course, with Pearl Harbor, Dumbo didn't make the cut.
More important stuff are going on, arguably more important.
Yeah, but this is the last movie right before the United States gets into World War II officially, and it changes how Disney operates really for the rest of the decade, because they start losing animators to go off to war,
which is so crazy. Dude.
Yeah, it's just weird to be drawing Dumbo and then fighting Nazis, but. That was 1941, so it's the historical sense of where this movie lands is interesting as well.
Yeah, I didn't go that route with my research. I just wanted to tell you, if you don't know about it, there's this adorable creature called a Dumbo octopus, and it looks like, I don't know, it looks like something someone made up, but it's called that because it has big floppy ears, but it's still an octopus. It's very, very cute. Jay, do you remember that? Have you seen one of those before?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they are very cute.
So cute.
Secondly, there was a stupid show that was made called Dumbo Circus where he does speak, as opposed to this movie where he doesn't say a word.
What?
It's 1980s. It's called Dumbo Circus, and it looks like Bob the Builder meets like Barney, and it's really sucks.
It's live action?
Yeah, it's like costumes.
I've never. I mean, I know.
Just type in and look up a clip while I say this next thing. Just look at it, and I just want to see your reaction to it. But secondly, it turns out there was almost a mid-2000s sequel, and the premise was going to be that Dumbo and his circus buddies have to figure their way out of the big city after the circus leaves them there. And I'm glad that they didn't do it. I don't think that was necessary. And they would have had to make Dumbo talk, I reckon, which I'm not upset that they didn't. The last thing I saw that I thought was crazy is that now the Dumbo cells, which I don't understand what animating cells are. It has to do with something about how it's produced, but they're apparently the most valuable in history now because of the era and because of that. But originally, apparently, the animators used to use them to skate down the hallway, and now they're going for like tens of thousands of dollars per. Like, it's just so funny to me that that's what happened. So with that, what do you reckon we get into it? Did you look up the Dumbo circus?
Yeah, it's really creepy.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, I wish
That's
I
the
did.
80s for you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll jump us into chapter 1 unless you have anything else.
No, take us away.
Let's. Okay, so the movie begins with a scary for no reason intro of wind and like ominous voices narrating, and then immediately pulls the e-brake and switches to, storks delivering babies to all the animals at the zoo. We see Dumbo arrive to Miss Jumbo and learn that he has incredibly large ears, which is, all the talk of the elephant parade of elephants. Yeah, I think that's it.
We gotta assume.
Then we see, the circus gets set up, and perhaps like the most racist part of this movie, the song Roustabouts. And then after the circus, Dumbo gets screwed up, or just gets screwed with by like Lampwick's brother, essentially, or older version of Lampwick. And Miss Jumbo goes nuts and brings the entire house down. So she's sent to solitary confinement. And that's where I'll stop. Here, I really, really want to talk to you about the stork service. There's just so much in this that I think that you don't see when you're a kid, but really deserves to be discussed. To start, I want to read an excerpt from the song lyrics. And I'll preface it by saying my initial reaction to this concept of a stork dropping off a baby is like, that is the most terrifying thing I could imagine. If a stork came down, not even just the fact that it's a stork, but like if someone just came and like handed me a baby in a bundle and was like, you got one, I would be like, oh no, you know what I mean? Like that would essentially ruin my life.
Duty times 2.
Yeah. So not only that element of it, but here are the lyrics of the song. They know. It starts by saying you can get one whether you're a millionaire or you're really poor, which sucks. But then it says, so look out for Mr. Stork, and let me tell you, friend, don't try to get away. He'll find you in the end. He'll spot you out in China, or he'll fly to County Cork, so you better look out for Mr. Stork.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, like he sounds like a supervillain, like an evil Santa Claus who wants to give you the obligation of being a parent, both financially and emotionally. But I digress. Tell me what you think. What was your reaction to this service? What do you think the service is? Why does Miss Jumbo get one and none of the other elephants do?
Yeah.
And what do you think about what I just read?
Well, it's funny because how music and lyrics, like you could have a really scary, ominous background music, but the lyrics could be like really sweet, but the lyrics are just going to get drowned out.
Yeah.
This is the reverse. Like the lyrics are really creepy, but it's like, look out for Mr. Stork.
Yeah,
and it's a really nice, it's always a song I forget. And when it plays, it's like, oh yeah, this is like a pretty good,
like
happy
a barbershop
song.
quartet.
Yeah. So I did not know that, but
Scary,
definitely adds an element here. Yeah, it's nice, especially like the wishing for this baby to come as well. And
you think she wanted it?
Yeah, definitely. She looked up at the sky.
Oh
multiple times.
And he does come and say like, which of you ladies is expecting? And I was like, well, I didn't know that you had to sign up for it. It's like a subscription service.
But yeah, because then they were like, oh yeah, she's in here. She's in here.
Baby prime delivery.
But yeah, it's a little when you wish upon a star, which it's funny watching these in order. There were a lot of similarities I saw with Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did
Dumbo,
too, actually. That's really interesting.
Just like being exploited and a lot of that. But I found that the whole stork operation, it was really cute, and I felt for Mrs. Jumbo, and maybe it's because as Harrison knows, we were waiting for a little puppy for like a year now and couldn't find one with a breeder. So like I think this whole movie hit me harder and more emotional than I wanted.
Yeah, you would use it.
Oh yeah. I've been looking for the stork service for a puppy.
Something that I decided I'd like to sequel is a movie based on the kangaroo and its I was gonna say daughter, but let's just assume it's a daughter. and something that breaks off from that moment, because when seeing it, I was like, we haven't seen a Disney movie about kangaroos that I can remember. And like, it would be interesting to see like them tie that in and then have it branch off to a completely different thing.
Well, speaking of, did you watch the Little Engine That Could?
Casey
The
Jr.? I'm
the
kidding.
what?
But yeah, I did. Casey Jr. is the name of the train that's really creepy and unnecessary, I thought. But Little Engine That Could, I think I can. I
We're
think I
talking the
can.
one in like the early 90s,
Yeah,
late
I do know it.
80s.
I do
It's
know it.
not
And I had the
Disney.
book.
Okay, because yeah, the book came out in the 30s before this movie. So it was a weird reference that they tied into because obviously the train was going up and he says, I think I can, I think I can.
Yeah,
But that also led to another sequel as well. Like this could be
that's
a
true.
10-part series where Dumbo's just one
Yeah.
and each one of these animals could have a different story,
Be
but then
like Crash, where it all comes from the same,
yeah,
like intertwining, or even just like an overlap of
yeah,
those. It would be
yeah,
sick. I
Crash.
would go
Yeah.
crazy for it.
Yeah.
Best
But yeah,
picture reference.
the little engine that could. I also realized how much that animation ripped off this Dumbo one like
Mm.
50 years later because it looked identical.
Yeah, it
Like
really
how they
does.
depicted the
It's like
train and
they just
everything.
decided to have it guest star. What do you think happened to Mr. Jumbo? Is she a single parent? Is this like an adoption thing, you reckon, or is he like gone?
Yeah, well, most of the animals actually, they just showed the
Single
mom and the
parents, yeah.
son.
The
There were
service.
a couple. There were the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
He stayed
Mm-hmm.
around.
Yeah,
Shout
that's
out to
true.
Shere Khan.
Shout out to Shere Khan. That could
Um,
be the birth of Shere Khan right there. That would be such a
oh,
dope.
see, yeah, I'm in
I
for
would
all
love
that.
this. You have
Throw
such a palette here that you could draw from of that train of animals getting born. They could
Yeah.
wrap up a whole bundle of Easter eggs and I would die.
And the reason why Shere Khan hates man so much is because he got relocated to India from America and
Yes.
was captured
I
and all
love it.
that.
I love it. The song Roustabouts in that circus. I think a lot of people think this movie is racist because of the crows at the end. That's what I've always heard, because it's
Hmm.
named like Jim Crow. But
Yeah,
that
the
that
depiction.
that Roustabout Circus is another one of those songs that you just talked about where the lyrics to it are like, oh man, talking about how like they can't read or write, they spend their paycheck as soon as they get it. That is like an undersold version of racism in this movie that I just never had noticed before. I
I,
had it on with subtitles, and that was my undoing. Did you notice it?
yeah, I completely agree as well. It's the most out of place scene in the entire movie as
Yeah,
well. If I was Disney, I don't know why. I guess they would get flack. I mean, you're never going to be perfect with this, but I don't get why you wouldn't just cut that scene out.
I totally
Just
understand.
edit it. I don't think anyone would even realize.
No, it's
And
it's it's
it's
important
just,
to. You could assume the circus was put up, and it wouldn't change the storyline at all. Like you
yeah,
didn't even have to see it.
there's so many cuts and scenes in this movie as well.
Uh
That
huh.
was one thing that I forgot. There's like a bunch of micro scenes, and that was one as well where it like cut to it, and it was very jarring and out of place, and then it
Yeah.
cut, and then you're back at the
And the
circus.
emotions
Just
of
a
the different
weird
cuts are
transition.
so different too. Like it's like really rainy and scary, and then it'll be really cheery the next moment.
Yeah,
I've got a hot take for you. I just want to say I never thought about
bring
this
it.
before. I could see the circus becoming something that is a very weird thing of the past. Like in the next, let's say 50 years, I could see circuses not being around and people being like, people used to do what? Like go to a weird tent and like trying to explain someone a circus, assuming it's not existing anymore, or trying to explain a circus to someone who is before the time of circuses, be like, yeah, no, it's really popular. You get a big tent, you get animals in it, people watching them, and you kind of like, I don't know, you like have them ride a ball around, or you jump through a hoop, and they're like, what are you talking about? Can't you see that being like a weird thing you were telling your kids about that existed back when you were growing up?
So much so that I didn't even think I needed to acknowledge it.
Oh,
Like
well.
I've never been the kid that went to circuses
Circi?
anyway.
Circusi?
Circi, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I've never been
Circi
one for the
Soleil,
circi.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I find them the concept of them I think is extremely old-fashioned. Like
Yeah.
I think of the era of like The Greatest Showman, or I think Big Fish had some
Oh
circus
yeah, they
scenes
did
as
have some
well. It's like that. I think of
circuses.
it's like 1904 and
Exactly.
a bunch of
With like those
handlebar.
weightlifters. Yeah. The guys
Yeah,
in the jumpsuits.
but it's like how far away is a circus, and I don't know how they take care of the animals or
Do they
it,
still exist?
I don't know if they still exist, but I would be surprised if they don't at the same time. But like with what was it, Blackfish, the documentary that exposed SeaWorld, and it's like
Oh yeah,
yeah, this was
that
terrible
was
and
a
people
heavy hitter.
so how quick the mindset shifted on that. The circus thing, if it hasn't blown up yet, it's
What?
going to 50 years,
That's
you said?
one
It's
documentary
like
away.
3 years
Yeah.
max.
If
I would
that
be
documentary is
shocked
on
if there were
production.
still animals in cages. Because, and it's not like I'm a crazy animal rights person. It's just pretty
It's
obvious when
common
you're there. Like,
sense.
this is not
This is no good.
natural,
This is no
and
good.
it doesn't look like these animals are happy per se.
Yeah, zoos are like that too. I was thinking
Oh
when that
yeah,
scene.
zoos is 50
Don't get me
years.
started
The
on zoos.
circus is like 2 years.
The thing is I was watching that scene where Lampwick's older brother, goes into the elephant enclosure, which is just a rope inside of a tent, and pulls out a baby elephant from under its mother by its tail. And I'm thinking, dude, if you do that, you should be dead. You go into any kind of an animal's enclosure in a roped off. I mean, it should have been more than a rope, but you're gonna die. Like R.I.P. Harambe, but that's
Yeah,
just what they do.
yeah. And I don't say anything overly dramatic on these podcasts. Like I'm very careful because it's like I'm not going to say every time, oh, the best villain or best whatever. I think that scene might be the most difficult scene for me to watch,
I remember that too. Yeah.
right up there with maybe Mufasa. Like
That's
and
high.
I actually physically could not watch that entire scene.
Jeez.
The emotions that you go through, the piece of crap kid
Yeah, you hate him. I remember
pulls,
hating
yeah,
him.
okay, so you're already upset, making fun of the ears, blowing in its ears, and Dumbo's the cutest, sweetest thing. If the scene ended there, you're already on the low.
Totally.
Then the mom reacts. All of the men come out with whips, whipping the mom. They take Dumbo away from the mom, and the whole thing just collapses in like 30 seconds, and you go through this roller coaster of emotion that I got no enjoyment. I, I wish it was softer, or maybe I'm soft.
You're
I don't know.
soft,
I don't know
dude.
how I'm gonna
No,
feel coming out of this podcast, but I like couldn't.
crying. At least
I
I'll be
could
crying.
not digest what Dumbo was serving me.
No, it was a lot, and it was a lot as a kid too. Like it's just you think it's the
Yes.
kind of thing that would change, but that was too much, and why it was not a major staple of my rotation. That is so difficult emotionally to watch. You don't want to watch this movie, even though there's
Yeah.
so many good things about it. Before we move on to chapter 2, I have another hot take. You might agree with me on this one. Is I almost feel scared to say it. Is Dumbo the cutest Disney character ever? And if not,
Mm.
tell me who's cuter than Dumbo.
Wow.
I,
Wow.
I
What a
actually
question.
have spent some time thinking about it, and I cannot think of one character that I found to be more cute than Dumbo. He is adorable.
What Dumbo has going is that there's not one word that's said.
Yeah.
And that's incredible how
Yeah.
much emotion and attachment you feel to a character that doesn't say
Doesn't
anything.
speak. Absolutely.
So the cuteness factor, I mean, that is certainly a check mark for Dumbo. I'm gonna keep noodling on this, but
Keep thinking it, but I
who
don't know
came
who.
up? Who were like the close competitors when you had thought about this?
Like the kid in Robin Hood who's really cute. He's got the bear. Or
Oh.
one of the kids in Peter Pan. Just tried to think of small character. I just don't
No,
think.
Chip in Beauty and the Beast is pretty cute.
Yeah, he is, but I still think.
It's not to the same level. You're right.
Yeah, you keep thinking about it, but before you do that, why don't you take us into chapter 2?
Are you sure? I'd kind of like to keep thinking about this.
Yeah, no,
All
maybe
right,
we
all
should
right.
just
We'll
do that.
keep going. Yeah, exactly. Give me like 20
No, no,
minutes.
I
give me
really
a
enjoy this
second.
Question.
It's a good one. I want you to think about that at home and see what you come up with, because I'm willing to be challenged on that. I don't think
Yep.
you'll beat me. Dumbo is the
No.
cutest character in Disney, and Fantasia is the best movie Disney ever
Yeah,
created.
yeah. It's not.
Hot takes, baby, with Harrison.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
jeez.
new segment.
Just calm down. He
All
didn't
right,
take
go
his
for it.
medicine. I'm sorry. So chapter 2 begins with Dumbo uh, coming from that, he gets shunned by all of the elephants. It's an embarrassment for Dumbo. And then you get introduced to Timothy Mouse. He becomes his manager in many ways. He finds the ringleader sleeping and
Ringleader.
convinces him in his sleep, to have Dumbo be the main star of this attraction. And Dumbo and the whole performance completely falls apart. The whole thing literally collapses. And then his punishment is he has to be part of the firefighter clown scene. And that also is a bit,
Rough.
yeah, just tough to view as well. And then they really hit it hard with Baby Mine, probably the most memorable piece of this whole movie, where Dumbo's mom is locked up, and it's the first time that you see them since the big fiasco.
Well
So
said. Well
the
said.
first, I mean, we can either go the sad part or the more happy part, but
Get the sad part out of the way.
no, I don't want to. I'm
Okay.
not ready for it. We need some joy.
We need some
So
time.
for the clowns, okay,
Oh,
they come in as the firefighters. I would like to know, if it's like 8 or 9 of them, they're extremely obnoxious. How
mm.
much would I have to pay you to go on a weekend bachelor party with them? And the part B question to
Oh my
that is,
gosh.
what do you think they would want to do on their bachelor party?
I could see them being those guys that are really excited about mischief and are really trying to force it by trying to get into some stuff. There's parts when they're discussing, which they do actually have reference to real life, where they were made as, what is it, ironic or like some kind of a satire on the animators' strike, trying to hit the
Yeah.
big boss for the raise. It was a total shot at the animators who were on strike at that time. But there's parts of them where I'm like, these guys aren't as bad as you think that they are, because you've seen them as clowns, and that just ruins a person for you. I don't care who you are. You see them as a clown, you just think of them differently. I think there's a part of me that's like, they're not as bad. Once they're in the tent, they're really loud and obnoxious, but they're normal. They're normalized from
Okay,
that
yeah,
memory.
yeah, it's in the tent.
Yeah. In
It's
the
not
tent,
them
I'm
as
thinking about.
firefighters.
And them as
Like,
firefighters, I don't think you could pay me. That is the craziest. They would try and burn the place down to do their act, dude. Like, I would never. If
yeah.
it's in the tent, like hanging out with that group of guys who also is clowns, that's one thing. If it's the firefighters, you couldn't pay me.
Oh yeah, no. I think even in the tent, they would be
It would be
extremely
tough.
annoying.
That's a thought process, but you take them out of the tent in show mode,
Yeah.
you couldn't pay me. I don't even like clowns, like in real life. Like, I don't
Who
like them.
does?
There's got to be someone, or else
Seriously,
they would be gone.
it's like,
Someone has to like clowns out there.
who though?
But I've
Serial
never met
killers.
them. Yeah, I've never
Yeah, exactly.
clowns.
Everyone's like, it's funny because everyone thinks it's unique to them. Like, yeah, I
Mm.
really don't like clowns, or I don't feel comfortable. It's like
Yeah.
no one actually feels
Yeah,
comfortable. It'd
talk
be
to.
more.
It would be
The
unique if you
fact
did
is, if
like
you
them.
exactly, exactly.
Oh, I
I
actually
know.
like clowns. Like, you're an interesting person.
Yeah.
Are you a
What?
clown?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I know the top 3 college schools as well, and I watch their
Clown
competitions
school.
live every time.
Just clowning around.
Yeah.
Conspiracy corner time for a second. I just want to throw this out here, just because I want to do this, and maybe it's a stretch, but could the ringmaster also be a Stromboli? Could you
Yeah,
see
I
that?
got the same thing. I looked up
Did
the
you?
voices, and it's different, but
Mm.
that was part of the similarity that I saw with Pinocchio as well.
Older or younger brother?
Younger. Stromboli feels like he's like 70,
He took over the
or he
family
just is
cart.
not taking care of his health,
It's
which
just they're both in kind of
he
performance
could be like
business.
18 for all I know, but he
Yeah,
looks like
just
he's
looks.
70. Stromboli.
Stromboli.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be a little intertwined
Yeah,
there.
it's the same type of presentation as well, like to the audience, very
Mhm.
long-winded, trying to be a showman and exploiting these creatures that are being treated terribly,
Yeah.
but to help them make money.
Yeah.
It's weird that 2 out of the
That's
4
what I'm
Disney
saying.
movies at this
So
point has
far,
so
it's got
many
this
parallels.
totally. And the thing is, you compare, and part of me wanted to wait to talk about this till after we go to chapter 3, but essentially Timothy Mouse is the better version of Jiminy Cricket. He's Jiminy Cricket 2.0. He's the sidekick that doesn't actually get all wrapped up in his feelings and bail.
Here.
He's hanging on with them. He's given speeches to boost everybody's morale. He's the man. And Dumbo is a better version of Pinocchio in the sense that he doesn't have any crazy attributes besides just loving his mother. And he's got no downside. He's not annoying. There's nothing wrong with him. It's like they just wanted another crack at the problems they had with characters from before.
No, exactly.
And Dumbo's hat is like Pinocchio's nose. You see it like one time in the whole movie, and then now every image of Dumbo for the rest of time has him in this little yellow stocking cap that doesn't really exist other than the one performance he does. It's very interesting. And that's the same thing with the nose.
Yeah. No, all of your takes, most of the time I don't disagree, nor do I think that you're intelligent, but you're rolling tonight. I'll give it to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Let me give you a chance to roll real quick. I just want to know if you could help me out with a little segment we like to call Music Time with Jay. It's a part of the podcast where Jay discusses the real-life applications of some of the songs. I'm saying it now because I have a feeling it's going to have to do with something in this chapter.
Yeah.
Jay.
It does. And I'm actually changing the category. I'm flipping it on its head.
Let's hear it.
So typically, I would be bringing a Disney song from this movie into the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring a song from the outer world into this movie.
Whoa, that's never been done before.
Never.
No, you're a pioneer, but it is Music Time with Jay. It's not anyone's call but yours, my friend. Go for it.
Exactly. So after Baby Mine, it's a really sweet scene, and the elephant trunks of Dumbo and the mom.
One of the hardest parts of the movie
exactly.
to watch.
It's like leaving, and Dumbo's just going off by himself and looking back, and it's really sad. I want cued right into that is Dumbo, Dumbo, have you always been alone?
Wow.
Dumbo.
That's
Dumbo.
Actually good, dude.
Django Unchained, yeah.
It might be too much. I loved that song, actually.
But just, it would be a nice transition after such a heavy hitter to get you like a little bit of blood back in the stream,
No kidding. I love that. What was your reaction to this song? Anything different? Like, it's just, I don't know what people want us to say, but it's like one of the hardest songs to watch. It's so sweet. It's made me really actually adult sad watching it this time. And I was like, embarrassed about the feelings that were coming up. I was like, I guess I'll make some notes that this song is making me very sad. Like, it's a sad scene, man.
I don't embrace this scene. I really feel like I have defense mechanisms that go up during this. Just like what you said, I know I am not like involved in the scene when this comes. It's like it's just automatic. Every time I watch Dumbo, I'm like, right, yeah. It's like
I'll go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. It's like watching. I don't know if you had this, but like watching a movie where there's like some sexual tension with a parent in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I'm going to get up and like get a drink of water.
It's just the air goes out of the room for a little bit.
But this is just internal, that it's just me watching this and I have all those same emotions.
That's a rough one. It is that way. And that little trunk thing, I think about that subconsciously all the time, just because it's more powerful than when you see people's hands like do that, like the trunk wrapping up. I don't know. It's too much. I'm going to move on to chapter 3.
Yeah.
So after that, you try and recover as best you can. Dumbo's trying to recover as best he can. After emotional meeting with his mother, Dumbo is out of sorts, let's say. And then a fortunate dumping of alcohol, or probably GHB, honestly, into like a barrel of water gets both Dumbo and Timothy just throwed off their ass, and we go through an external LSD trip known as PEEP, or Pink Elephants on Parade, the beginning of the word people. Dumbo wakes up from his bender in like an actual tree, very, very high off the ground, being heckled by some crows that are really actually very friendly and cool, but not, kind of kicking him when he's down. They realize Dumbo can fly. Dumbo then revolutionizes the circus that he's working for, goes back to the circus and rains like an aerial hellfire of wonder and peanuts on all the unsuspecting patrons. He becomes the biggest hit in the world. They send him to war, I think. We'll talk about that, but then the movie ends with his mom chilling in like an Airstream trailer on the back of the train, and Dumbo seeming incredibly happy. Timothy Mouse, gets his big break, which leads me to my question for you. Actually, I've got two things. Trivia question to start. Let's see how you do. This could be a pot shot, and I'm sorry if this is uncool, but can you name the last line of the film? And I'll give you a hint, unless you know it off the bat. Do you know it off the bat?
No.
I'll give you a hint. It's spoken by a crow.
I'm going to guess fly.
Oh, no, not even close. It's, well, so long, glamour boy. The subtitles, watching these with subtitles, it hits a little bit.
Why do you watch it with subtitles?
I don't know. There's things
Maybe I
that
should
you start seeing stuff that you didn't see before. I don't know. Here's my thing. I want to talk, and I'm so glad we made it to the last chapter to talk about him. I want to talk about Timothy Mouse. Where does Timothy Mouse sit with you in the argument of one of the best sidekicks or friends for a Disney character? And the thing to consider is the argument could be made that everything he does in this movie is for his own personal gain. And he does end up signing a Hollywood contract, which is seemingly away from Dumbo. So he sees an opportunity, he takes it. Having said that, I would also make the argument that every step of the way, he is the most supportive and genuine friend that Dumbo will ever have. Where does he rank for you?
Well, in the sense of this movie, if Timothy Mouse doesn't exist, this movie does not work for the audience. Like, even if that same character existed, but he wasn't as lovable, like if it was a Jiminy, it would not work. Like, we needed an anchor of someone that we trust and that is just making the right decisions and providing some positivity throughout this very complex and emotional charged storyline.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to do
Timothy Mouse. I don't know. He's not in my top 5 or anything in that realm, but he's probably the most underrated.
He's incredibly
sidekick.
Underrated.
I'll probably forget like 6 months. As sad as that is.
Don't do it.
I'm hoping I won't, but he is just a character that is easily
He just doesn't
forgotten.
stand on the Mount Rushmore for some reason.
When you think of Dumbo, you don't think of Timothy.
No, you don't at all. And I remember him every time I watch it. I was going to do a segment on Harrison's Heroes about Timothy Mouse. It feels like you've kind of already set that up perfectly. He's underrated. He's the most trusting, loyal guy, and he finds a way to make it work. This movie does not work without him, and I think he needs to have more attention called to him.
Yeah.
So thank you for helping me out with that one. The speeches that he gives, he's the kind of guy that can motivate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes a really weird turn a few different times in this last chapter with Peep, as we'll call it. Pink Elephants on Parade. Why did that happen? Why did we do that? It was like a weird, was it showing off animation?
Before I answer that question, are you implying, did you not like that scene?
I didn't dislike it. It was just like a Heffalumps and Woozles from later on in the Winnie the Pooh world.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and that elephant that's made of other elephant heads will stick with me probably forever. But yeah, I just was like, why is this happening? Why do we do that?
I think animation was a major factor, especially because the second it starts getting into kind of psychedelic trip, it's a 3D square that's rotating.
Yeah.
And that, as simple as that might seem now,
Difficult.
Nothing like that had been done. I don't know the animation behind all this, but nothing like that had been done in the 3 previous movies, and it just seemed right from the start that they wanted to show off this animation.
Here's the thing. I actually, when he blew that square bubble with his trunk, I thought that was the coolest thing ever and thought it was possible and tried in different circumstances to be able to do that, like using stuff, and found out as a child that is not possible. There's nothing you can do to build a square balloon or a square bubble.
So that's what you learned in this watch.
That is what I learned. Yes. I'm not happy with it, but it's the case.
Yeah. I thought the Elephants on Parade, especially just coming off of Fantasia, I thought it was what I wanted more from Fantasia. But it
It
adds
adds to
something
it.
that Dumbo did not have.
Yeah,
And it
that's
was
true.
like this weird wackiness piece, and ultimately just making it light. There were only two beats that were played throughout Dumbo. It's like extremely sad and you're just stressed out about a certain scene, or you think Dumbo's really cute and you like Timothy Mouse.
Yeah,
Those are the
yeah.
only two emotions until this happens, and the last chapter really gets into like a much more fun, lighthearted movie that the
Mm.
first two thirds steered far away from.
Speaking of like the ending, it wraps up in a way that is you almost want more for Dumbo than happens. His ears are insured for $1 million each. He's the biggest hit ever. How did you feel about the movie? And did they send him to war? Is that what they were implying? That they sent him as like the leader of a battalion, or did they design planes after a flying elephant? Where it says Dumbo in defense.
Yeah. I thought it was that they designed planes after Dumbo.
I like that way better than the alternative.
It's also weird the scene in that last performance when he gets the peanuts and he's shooting them and he's
Yeah,
simulating the aircraft.
yeah,
It's weird that Pearl Harbor happens like 5 or 6 weeks after
yeah.
this
That's
as
true. That's
well.
kind of eerie, isn't it? It also, now that you bring it up, I realize it does. It is kind of a strike. It's a weirdly passive aggressive thing that does open a little window to Dumbo's character that we wouldn't have noticed otherwise. I think it
Hmm.
shows you that he's got some resentment for the people around him.
Yeah, like when he got power.
Yeah, and which makes it hard because like you want him to get out of the circus. You know what I mean? Like you want him to like if he's done so well, like why is it at the end he's still traveling on a train with the circus? Why isn't But then I thought, what the hell is an elephant's best case scenario going to be doing?
Yeah,
You
it's
know, what
probably
could
just
they have
this.
done otherwise? It's probably just living comfortably in the circus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, especially in that last chapter, the one thing that I really wish would have happened way earlier is you see Dumbo and his mom
Mm,
get together much
reunited
sooner.
again. Yeah, that would
You
have been
can't have
nice.
that at the very end because anything good that happens to Dumbo from baby mind to that point, there is still anxiety for the viewer because that
Yeah, because that
that is the
happened.
main storyline that you care about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't care that Dumbo is becoming successful or the whole time you're just looking for that next scene like when do
Where's
they
his
get
damn
back together?
mom? Hmm.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to take his mom out on a date, I thought about this for dating with Disney. I don't think it's really necessary because I was never attracted to Mrs. Jumbo as a child, but there's a part of you that wants to do
Probably a
something
good
nice.
thing.
I think I would take her to Thailand and have her like hang out in like an elephant sanctuary because I reckon for her that would be like a spa. They like scrub them and stuff. Wouldn't you? Don't you think that'd be nice?
You know,
What's the best thing you could do for an elephant?
don't they treat
Let him go.
elephants bad in Thailand though?
I see nice stuff. I guess I'm not really looking at.
Yeah, exactly. No. It's
No,
very
dude, it's
good.
really good, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Best
exactly.
place
I
in
saw some
elephant heaven.
Instagram pics.
Yeah,
It's dope, dude.
actually not that far off. Okay, let's move into our favorite categories. Favorite song. I'm sure yours was Baby Mine, so I'll tell you that mine was When I See an Elephant Fly.
Explain more. We didn't really talk about the crows.
Yeah, let's talk about the crows a little bit too. The crows are some of my favorite characters in the movie. They're the staple for Dumbo is racist, truthers, where because it was voiced by a white person, but it's obviously portraying black men.
Yeah.
But they were some of the most positive and complimentary characters to the plot that I actually think that the roustabout scene beats it out. I didn't find there to be a ton of characters in this movie to begin with, but they're a really welcome addition. It comes out of nowhere, but I
Yeah.
really like them. Like they're funny, they have a great camaraderie. They're kind of teasing him in like a friendly way. Like I guess you could call it teasing, but it quickly turns a 180 once they understand the circumstance. Timothy Mouse gives like a great Braveheart speech about how like he's down and out and how you dare you do that, which is honestly what puts him in the Hall of Fame in my opinion. But once they understand the sensitivity of the situation, they totally turn around and
Yeah.
are friends and help him become who he's going to be. So I thought they were awesome, man. I think that they're undersung, even though apparently it was a real barbershop quartet or like a real band that they got to do the Crows. Yeah, like a legitimate, I forget what the name of it was, but that's why the internet exists. So
Yeah.
I don't care. You can look it up. But yeah, I loved them. What did you think about that scene? It's just it's a weird part of the movie. We're thinking,
It is.
how is this going?
It's just like, it's thrown together pretty quick at the end with like the 5 or 6 crows. They are some of the most enjoyable characters for sure. And like the last third is the most enjoyable piece because it's just a lot more lighthearted and fun. But I can completely see why it hasn't aged that well in that sense either.
No.
So there's multiple aspects of this movie that I don't really.
You can't.
I know it's a different time, but I'm surprised that it's not more addressed up front. That like,
totally.
I'm surprised that there hasn't been more pushback for Disney to acknowledge. Or maybe it's something that we've missed, but.
Tell me this question for you: the crows at the end, or versus the vultures in Jungle Book?
Oh, I'll take the crows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm in the same place. Who was your favorite character?
Timothy Mouse, and actually, my favorite song was the Pink Elephant.
I was going to say, yeah. What was your favorite song?
Yeah, it's the Pink Elephant song. I really enjoyed it.
It is a good one. Timothy Mouse is mine as well, but I think close second for me is actually the Ringmaster. Not because he's the best, but because I think you see a different side of him.
Stromboli June?
Stromboli June, dude, because I just think he's doing his job to a degree. When he's whipping her is the hardest part of that. When he's trying to, and what he's saying what he's saying the whole time.
Dog. I'll be sitting on the other side.
Let's
watch this video again of him
sitting there at my part. Like,
Jury, what do you think?
The subtitles say that he's saying calm down, which I thought it was a lot more menacing. I don't like the use of a whip at all on animals, so that's tough. I thought he might be a villain back then. He's not. I don't like that he whipped her, but if you take that part out, he's actually just kind of an accessory. And I thought that change of heart for me put him in this category for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene?
The Pink Elephant scene.
Wow. Who could have guessed? Mine was the Inception, the first Inception, where he goes in and does the, covers and makes himself into a ghost. And that whole, maybe I'll see it in a vision while I dream. I thought that was all good. Favorite quote? What do you got?
It's from our friend Timothy Mouse.
Everyone's friend.
The very little thing that keeps you down is going to carry you up, up, and up.
Ah, that's a good one. I didn't even write that one down. Nicely done.
He has a lot of really good lines.
He does have a good one, including this one. I've got a few good quotes, but my favorite that's like actually like meta is, "You're standing on the threshold of success. Don't look down. It might make you dizzy." And I was like, that's
beautiful.
Yeah. But my second favorite and less powerful is when one of the elephants goes, "Have I got a trunk full of dirt for you?" And I was thinking, I could use that, dude.
That's a good accent.
Thank you. Yeah, I also liked when Timothy Mouse, and this is a great thing for agents to say everywhere, because "I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to take care of your future." What's his accent? What is his accent? Where is he from? New Jersey?
I don't know. I mean, it's all based in America, which is rare for Disney movies.
Yeah,
there's not that many that.
In Florida, of all places.
Yeah.
Super strange. Okay,
that Elon Musk bullet train from the Stork View, man. That thing was hauling up to northern Florida.
Casey Jr.'s unemployed, dog.
Yeah.
Okay, for our playground pick'em, we're gonna do the Disney Circus. So we're gonna open it up to more movies than just Dumbo. No, we said we hated circuses. Let's do another one. If you could pick 3 characters to be in your circus that can come up with their own acts if they want, or you could just display them however you want to go for it, who would you pick? And I'll take first pick.
Animal character.
They have to be animals.
Yeah.
Just imprison
Genie.
Cinderella, dude. People are going to love her.
Yeah, wax on, wax off.
I'm going to say Honest John. And I don't know what he's going to do, but I know people will show up to see it. And I insisted on first pick because I thought for sure we could
You thought that that's where I'd go.
100%. I was like, that was the
Dang it,
only
he
person
knows
I
me
thought
too
of.
well.
Yeah. Who do you got? So I've got Honest John.
What would he do though?
Dude, he would do a stand-up routine. He would just twirl stuff. He would juggle on like a unicycle. I could see him doing a million things, man. What can't
He could be your ringleader, actually.
He could do that too. Yeah, he would be great. He'd be great in anything I needed him to do, as long as he felt involved. You know?
Yeah. All right. All right. So this is like the classic in the chess game when you take my queen. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? Like, fine. I'm
too.
gonna take yours too. I'm going Robin Hood. Your
Oh my
favorite.
God.
Yep.
Scratch that off the list.
Robin Hood, archery skill set.
Yeah.
Okay. Just really being a great host as well. I could see him kind of being like a Tom Hanks host of the circus as well. Just everyone's gonna really like him, and then he could end with doing some,
anything with a bow.
Anything with a bow, exactly.
And that was definitely my 102. Like, there's no way I wasn't gonna take him if that came back around. Okay. This one's a little bit of controversy, because it's technically two characters, but I think you could agree it might be lopped into one. I'm taking Timon and Pumbaa. Can I do that?
Sure.
Thank you.
You'll give me a break down the road.
I will. Yeah, so I'm taking Timon and Pumbaa. I also am just going to have kind of a comedy-centric circus, I suppose, because I don't really know what they're skilled at, but I'm sure they could figure out something. People have probably never seen animal. This is in 1940, let's say, just to give me a break. People have never seen a warthog and a meerkat.
No.
Hang out together? That's like a viral video on itself. You see like a duck and a puppy hang out. You're like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen. You see a warthog and a meerkat. You're like, how did you even get this on film? Secondly, this is the best thing. I'm quitting my job. Because that's what people do when they see stuff like that.
God, you really screwed this stuff up for me.
You just didn't know where to go after Honest John.
Okay. You want to go?
Yeah.
Pegasus.
Oh, wow. Not even on my list.
Yep.
Damn it.
It's we can put Robin Hood on Pegasus, and he'll fly around shooting bows and arrows. And
that one, you're taking ones that I'm having to really flex to try and get my acts what they're going to be. Yours are so obvious the moment you take your pick. They're just incredible characters.
I need
a strong act just by itself. So I'm going to take the Cheshire Cat, because that is I don't think people would like it, but it's interesting enough to where
what are you going to do with it?
Dude, he's just going to disappear and stuff. His head's going to be over here. He's going to talk to people.
Yeah. Kids would love that. It'd basically be magic.
It would be magic. Even the guy, the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland, who blows the smoke rings, that's a show in itself.
No one wants to.
That's true. He's mean.
No one wants to pay for that.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got Robin Hood and Pegasus. I've got Honest John, Timon and Pumbaa, and the Cheshire Cat. Who do you got for your last pick? What a weird circus. It's actually a terrible group of people if you think about them getting along.
I'm gonna go Mushu.
Oh,
just the power of Eddie Murphy.
I didn't even think about the ones that you picked. The power of Eddie Murphy is very powerful.
So I would love to have him. He would really do like mainly stand-up comedy, but I also would like to have him be like the target on the wall, making jokes and stuff. And Robin Hood would get really close to hitting him, but because he has such an eagle eye.
I actually think you won this one, because I'm looking at your list, Robin Hood, Pegasus, and Mushu, and not only would I love to sequel something like that, I would love a movie with those three characters, but they could actually get along.
Yeah.
Then I look over at Honest John, Timon and Pumbaa, and the Cheshire Cat, and imagine them in the cart on the way to the circus.
It's a lot of role players. There's no one is actually going to take the ball.
Yeah, I don't like my team.
The team chemistry there is not there.
Yeah, so I think you get the victory on this one. Would you recommend this movie as being worth a rewatch if you've watched this as a child and you want to know if they should watch it now?
Yes. It's an hour long.
Yeah, it's so short.
And I really enjoyed that about it, actually. I think I would verge on really not enjoying this movie if it was another 10, 15 minutes long. But it's efficient. It's has its tough points,
And
but
Dumbo's the cutest character in Disney history. So
I've
we'll
been
come back
thinking about trying to
off
figure
the.
out who's
Mhm.
cuter, and I can't yet.
Yeah, worth a watch if you've never seen it. Absolutely, right?
Yes.
Have you seen the 2019 Dumbo live action? I know you're not a big live action guy.
Yeah, to say the least. I
Yeah.
haven't seen.
When I say not a big live action guy, I mean
Yeah.
you hate
Yeah,
live
exactly.
action so much.
I will be honest. So I refuse is a strong term, but
Hmm.
I just the live action piece. It just feels like a money grab, and it's hard for
It
me to
is.
just accept like these Disney movies are still great. I don't know why, unless it's taking a different angle. And this movie, actually, I'm interested in seeing what the 2019 version would be more than any other live action.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it by the time we do our next one.
Like, I'm sure that they made improvements, or I would like to see, because
I
there was
just
a
want to
lot of
see.
potential
You
where it's
can't be
like,
sure. I'm gonna say it is worth a rewatch because I liked it more this time than I did as a kid, and it's worth a watch because it's Dumbo, and I'm super biased. I don't know why I even have this part of the podcast because, of course, it's worth. If you haven't seen a Disney movie that's out there that's a classic like this, you should see it. I don't care who you are.
yeah,
Would you show this to kids, your kids, someone else's kids? Growing up, is this a good movie to see?
yes.
Yeah, I would, but I wonder if it is positive. Does it have a positive effect? What do you learn from this movie?
Oh, uh, I mean, we're about to get into our toast, but uh,
Actually, let's just get to our toast then.
yeah. My favorite part about Dumbo is that his ears were what everyone made fun of, and it ended up being his strength.
It's a really good point.
So
Really good
turning
point.
your weakness into a strength, and just like what Timothy Mouth's what his quote was, that's my favorite part about Dumbo, and that's what kids would learn.
Okay. Uh, do you want to put that into a toast, or should we
Yeah,
just
that's
tank
the
on that
toast.
one? I
Yeah,
love that.
exactly.
I said to the cutest character in Disney history, Dumbo, and runner-up to the top 5 voice performances by Timothy Mouse. And then I wanted to reinstate my quote: "You're standing on the threshold of success. Don't look down; it'll make you dizzy."
Wow, it's beautiful. I
Oh.
really do like that quote.
I like it too. And I liked Dumbo, but unfortunately that brings us to the end of our time here at the Disney Pod Classics. Jay, what do we got next? What are we working
Yes.
on next in the line of chronological Disney films?
Yeah, a movie that I thought about for trying to compete with the cuteness of Dumbo, Bambi.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
Another one that'll just think like right into the heart, even though it's on the other side.
Yeah, and I guess I have to close this podcast by saying to the cutest Disney character ever, because I'm
Yeah.
stumped.
Yeah, that's what I was going for, my friend. That's what a
God,
hot tank is.
I learned a lot. Thank you,
We
Harrison.
all did. Absolutely. And thank you for
I'll send you a
listening.
Venmo.
Yeah, that's what we should do. Pay me. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time with Bambi. Have a good one.
On like Disney Wikipedia, how they have their own Wikipedia.
Yeah.
The pheasant has
Wikipedia.
a screen as well. Wikipedia. Oh God.
No, that's
We
probably
gotta,
not it.
we
But
gotta grow up.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's grow up and get back to the Disney podcast.
yeah, exactly.